After we saw a Titans trade yesterday that kind of kicked off the bunch of moves that are going to happen before the NFL trade deadline, that is exactly a week away. There are two more Titans players that I think could be on the trading block as we get closer and closer to the deadline. Welcome into Titans Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Brett Alper. And before we get into those two players, if you guys did miss it yesterday, the Titans, they kind of just said, all right, screw our secondary. We're shipping them off, and they sent Roger McCreary, the nickel corner, to the Rams for a conditional 5th, 6th-round pick swap per sources. He's on his way to Los Angeles, and the Titans, they now are very, very, very thin at the cornerback spot. Now, before we get into both of those guys, I have a little goal for us, and we are closer and closer away, ladies and gentlemen. It is October 28th. That only gives us 3 more days to beat our likes goal of 1,500. We are 134 away. I know we can do it on this video. So let's show the YouTube world that this is the best Titans channel on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up icon right now. The first one that I think is going to be on the trade block, and I think this is just an absolute guarantee, and it's kind of just been hovering over the Titans' head for weeks, months, even since the offseason, it's been Chigoziem Okonkwo trying to get traded. And we know that Chig is heading into the final year of his contract. He's a solid player. I mean, last year had 50 catches. He's been one of Cam Ward's top targets going into this season. But it has been rumored, and it has kind of been shown throughout this season, and kind of just no talks at all about possible extension, that Chad Brinker and Mike Borgonzi don't have any thoughts of like, hey, he's a part of our future as we go through this rebuild with Cam Ward and with the rest of the team and the future head coach that is going to be here next season. I like Chig. I mean, he's a solid player. He can block. He can go out and catch a pass. And now the numbers through the first 8 games aren't eye-popping, but you also are dealing with an offense that just does not click right now. Cam Ward is finally starting to get it going, but the offensive line is not good. 27 catches, 271 yards, an average of 10 yards per catch. No touchdowns yet for Chig. Now we look at, though, the guy they drafted out of Texas this season, and he is slowly starting to become that main guy for this team. You saw Chigoziem Okonkwo's stats with 27 catches, but you see Gunnar Helm's stats with 19 catches, 172 yards, 1 touchdown, and a long catch of 22 yards. He's on the same page with Cam Ward, it feels like, starting to a lot more than Chig has been. And when you take a look at their kind of splits and their snap counts for each one of those guys, they're both averaging about 33 snaps per game. They're running a lot of 12 personnel. You've seen Gunnar Helm go out in the slot just a couple more times than Chigoziem Okonkwo. But it seems like that Gunnar Helm is starting to get more reps, starting to be that main tight end in this offense. So they're kind of phasing their way with Chigoziem Okonkwo out. And that's why I think that it could possibly happen with a trade going in with 1 week left in the trade deadline. You know that Gunnar Helm is your tight end of the future. And if you're not going to extend Chigoziem Okonkwo, which it's pretty much clear that they're not going to, you have to at least get some return out of it and expedite the future. Well, let's go in and let's go with Gunnar Helm as our first tight end with a trade. Because you saw Roger McCreary, you think that they could have got more for him. Well, he's also a free agent at the end of his deal. And he was not a part of Brinker and Borgonzi's plans, so they shipped him out and got anything in return. And what they got was a pick swap. And Chigoziem Okonkwo, I see him as kind of the same exact talent as Roger McCreary. You're a solid player. He's going to be a starter in this league. But since you're just trying to get any return, they took a pick swap. So I would not be surprised if it was a pick swap for Chig. There's tight end needy teams. I don't know if you want to go in division, but the Texans really, really need a tight end. So that could be a team that could call up and be like, hey, let's do a trade. And at this point, when you're 1-7, what the hell? Why not? Why not? The second guy on my list is Arden Key. And he is also another person that is on his contract year, and it's the edge. And we haven't really seen Arden Key much this season solely because, well, he's been hurt. On the year, he only has 6 tackles, 1.5 sack, 1 tackle for loss. He's also kind of fallen out of the rotation with the edge rushing rooms that you have now. But like Chigoziem Okonkwo, like Roger McCreary, like everybody else that is possibly on the trade block for the Tennessee Titans, they're in a contract year. And we know that Tennessee is trying to rack in all the draft picks that you could possibly get. You know that we saw the report from Adam Schefter. Everybody's on the table except for Cam Ward and Jeffrey Simmons. So Arden Key is that number one guy that I think could be on a trade on defense. And I said before, the stats don't really stick out that much, 1.5 sacks, but he's also hasn't played in that many games. He's been dealing with an injury, 16.9 PFF grade, so he's solid when he's out there. He just also can't really get out there. And when you look at the Titans' kind of edge depth chart room, you see Sebastian Joseph Day. You see Draymond Jones. There's Arden Key. But you also have Jihad Ward that has jumped Arden Key on the depth chart for having more and more and more reps. So when you look at that depth chart, you can see that the Titans, they can afford to trade Arden Key away. They do not need him with the amount of edge rushers that they should have. We talked about Draymond Jones. Hey, maybe he's a possible trade candidate. I don't really think so. I think it's going to be Arden Key. But when you have him on the defensive line, Sebastian Joseph Day on the defensive line, you have Jihad Ward on the offensive line. And not to mention, you have your rookie, Femi Oladejo, which was placed on IR, but he's expected to be back at some point this season. He can get more reps. So that's 4 guys I just named right there that can be at the edge position, and you kind of just left out Arden Key like, all right, well, we can get something for him. Let's go out and trade him. There are a lot of edge-needing teams in the NFL. There's been reported that the New England Patriots are really looking to call up teams for an edge. You know how he has that ties with Mike Vrabel, the head coach of them. You also have the Dallas Cowboys, which is hilarious that they want an edge rusher after trading away Micah Parsons. And then the 49ers, just everybody and their mom is getting hurt at that point, so they need anything that they can get. I also think, though, that it could be another day 3 pick for a trade, or it could be a pick swap. Maybe if some team is that needy, like the 49ers, they send you over a 4th-round pick. But overall, you're not going to get too much for these guys, but like the Titans want to, you got a 5th-round pick for Roger McCreary. You're going to take anything to rack up those draft picks. If you want the Titans to make a move and to help our October like goal, hit that thumbs up icon, like the video if you want the Titans to make a move. On the back half of this, I didn't get to talk about it yesterday, which I really wanted to talk about yesterday, about the bonehead decision by Mike McCoy. Thanks, Roger McCreary, for getting traded. I wasn't able to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it right now and how cowardly that decision was. But first, I got to tell you about our sponsor of today's show, and that is PrizePicks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with PrizePicks. The weather might be changing. It's getting cold out here. But the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less than 2 6-player stat projections. If your picks are right, you can cash in. You know, PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup is not perfect. You could double your money. Even if one of your picks doesn't hit, PrizePicks is the best way to win cash this football season. I made it 2-pick lineup, a power play with this upcoming game, Tennessee versus L.A. And Cam Ward, he's been throwing the rock a little bit. Give me the more on that one. And with the secondary depleted, I think Justin Herbert might go off. Give me the more on that one. You can make a lineup just like that when you download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. All right, let's talk about it. So, if you guys did not watch the game, which if you're watching this video, I assume you still are watching Titans games. If you saw Big Cat, he talked about how I'm off watching this. Well, when you cover the team, you still have to watch the games. But Mike McCoy made single-handedly the most coward decision that I have seen watching football, especially in 2025 with the advanced analytics telling you to go for it. It was in the third quarter. And the game was kind of getting out of hand, but it was still a little bit close. And Tennessee decided to punt from the Indy 42-yard line on 4th and 3. and they were losing 17-7. One, why are you doing that? Two, I saw this tweet from Surrender Index, and this is kind of like, hey, what does this mean if you're kind of just giving up on the play? Well, the surrender index of 27.01, that punt ranks at the 99.6 percentile of cowardly punts of the 2025 season and the 97th percentile of all punts since 1999. They gave up. They threw in the white flag when it was only a 10-point game when you had an opportunity in the third quarter. Like, what are you doing? Are you trying to be conservative? Like, that is one of the dumbest decisions I've ever made. In the NFL, when you're in that no man's land, that 40-yard line in enemy territory, when do you see someone say, we're just going to punt? Because you clearly don't trust your defense. Shot it to Taylor Ram for 3 touchdowns and had 80-plus yard runs. I hate dumb football decisions. And clearly Cam Ward does too. I wish I could show you the video, but I took a little screenshot of it, and this was the quote. Exactly from Cam Ward. He said, "What the F are we doing, Mike? Go for it." Regarding to that play when he went to the sidelines and saw Mike McCoy bringing up the punt team. Like, why are you not going for it? Being conservative when you're down 10 in enemy territory and you're going to punt with short yardage? Clearly you either A, don't trust the team, B, don't care, or C, you're just trying to save yourself. Trying to save face. Maybe you think you're going to get another head coaching opportunity by not being aggressive. But you're 1-7. You have nothing to lose. Well, you were 1-6 at that time. But if you lose it, they get the ball back and they might score. They scored anyway. And Cam Ward was pissed off about it. Everybody was pissed off about it. I get pissed off just by really, really bad football plays. Doesn't matter what the team is. This is what Cam Ward said. We want to be an aggressive team, especially with the record we have right now. We have to be an aggressive team at the end of the season to get where we want to be. So we just got to keep going one day at a time and got to try to win a game next week. Why is Cam Ward, I know he's your star franchise quarterback, but why is he the only one with situational awareness? I know it's the head coach, Mike McCoy, and he kind of has the end-all decisions, but did no one tell him, like, hey, this is kind of a dumb move? Mike McCoy said after the game, yeah, it was a dumb decision, but I did it. That was my choice. Well, no shit, man. It's just kind of funny at this point. And it shows, like, this season is done. So that goes back to the beginning of the video, right at the beginning, where I said, hey, fire sale impending. I would say start one. Trade everybody. Get as many draft picks as you possibly can. But you are ridden with injuries across the board. There is an injury at almost every single position that you can think of. You got the Arden Key injury. I think he's a big trade candidate. But you have the Calvin Ridley with a hamstring. Jeffrey Simmons, your best player on defense, has a hamstring. Darrell Baker Jr., who's your cornerback, has a concussion. Ali Gay with a knee injury. He left against the Colts. L'Jarius Sneed was placed in IR. Femi Oladipo has the leg injury. And Xavier Woods, your safety, has a hammy. That's 8 players right there. That is 8 rotational starters. Right there. That's how many injuries you have. So if you want to go trade him out, just like you traded Roger McCreary, Darrell Baker Jr. might not be out there. L'Jarius Sneed isn't going to be out there. You're going with Samuel Womack and Jalen Armour-Davis. Like, good luck. Justin Herbert's going to tear this team apart. So I'll ask you guys before we get on out of here. Should the Titans start a fire sale? Give me an F for fire sale, or give me a D for don't. I think they should start one. I say screw it. You're probably going to be in the running for the first overall pick. And there's a big game late in the season, your Week 17 matchup, your second to last game of the year, where it could be for the number 1 overall pick. It's going to be a bad game to watch. They just benched Spencer Rattler for Tyler Shough. Saints versus Titans. Both these teams, see right there, 1-7. This could be for the first overall pick right there. Week 17, the loser gets the number 1 pick. So it'll be interesting to watch, and we got you covered here on Titans Today. So that's why subscribe to the channel. Don't miss out on any Titans news right here. Hit that sub button, and as always, tighten up.